because I didn't know you were listening. And therefore, but it knew, it picks it out. And I want you to know that that's not you.
Talk 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
AM 1470, WNN, with more of what you need to know. Start your day with the Steve Kane Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. on South Florida's Health and Wealth Network, AM 1470, WNN.
This is Meryl Streep. There's so much in life we can't control. But here's something we can: colorectal cancer. It's the second leading cancer killer in the U.S., but it is almost entirely preventable. Screening finds polyps so they can be removed before they turn into cancer. If you're over 50, get screened for colorectal cancer. Screening saves lives. It could really save your life. For more information, call 1-800-CDC-INFO.
A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This is Talk 1470.
Talk 1470.
WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity hosts Steve O and Rene. Sit back each week while Steve O and Rene educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve O and Rene with today's expert in their field.
Good afternoon and welcome to another segment, another show of Ask the Experts, the only show in South Florida that brings you the top experts in the field of health, legal, financial, and home improvement. We're coming up to our first year of Ask the Experts. Our show is every Monday and Friday from 4 to 5, 2 shows. And just continue writing us if you've got a show idea, an expert you'd like to bring us on. Today is one of those shows that we just love doing. There's some shows that are but
we love all our shows.
But they don't know which ones that are but today's show. And the reason why is because we know who our audience is. And today we are going to talk about tinnitus.
Hearing loss.
Hearing loss. What'd you say again?
Exactly.
Excuse me?
He needs you, Dr. Paula. Desperately.
I know.
And she does house calls.
Hey, if you want to watch today's show live right now in living color, go to www.wwnnradio.com. Next month, I am going to squeeze Dr. Paula to put this show on her homepage. So you can go watch it on her homepage.
You'll have to do it personally.
Yes, probably.
We were able to find the top audiologist in Broward and Palm Beach County, and we know we have a lot of listeners out there that you might have a hearing problem. Maybe you have a hearing aid that's getting old. Maybe you just need to do a hearing test, and Dr. Paula is so good at that. So I want to welcome again, she's with us every month for our audiology show. Well, welcome. I call her
Welcome
Dr.
to the show,
Paula.
Dr. Paula.
Thank you.
So tell everybody a little bit about your background. You know, it's so funny because we receive so many emails about having a hearing loss professional on our show because it's a perfect demographics. Everybody's listening. So tell everybody a little background about your company.
Okay, so the name of the company is ABEL, BEL, if you're looking for it online. Audiology. We have been a private practice in Pembroke Pines for 12 and a half years, although I have been an audiologist for over 30 years. Hard to believe.
And you look like you're 20.
Yeah, I feel like I'm 12. We're proud to be the only standing private practice in miles and miles of us, and that just gives us ability to be very flexible and to provide really very, very customized, personalized hearing care for our patients.
I'm dying to say
So
something. I got to bring this up, or we're going to have some doctors get mad at us. There are doctors, ENT doctors, that are, I call them dispensaries, right? I mean, they dispense hearing aids. just because they're a doctor does not mean they know more than Dr. Paula does when it comes to hearing. So kind of tell people
What's
about
the difference?
Okay, so there are different people that provide hearing health care. ENTs, of course, are the medical professionals behind it. And I actually work with ENTs because there are medical conditions that can cause hearing loss.
Such as?
Excess wax, otosclerosis, autoimmune deficiency, ear infections is really huge.
Yes.
Scar tissue from previous
Childhood, yeah.
from childhood. So, I don't knock ENTs because I work in conjunction with them. My business model is very medical. So, being medical, I've worked with many, many ENTs, both in New York and in Florida. And, and I love my ENTs. And, to say that they're dispensaries,
I'm just saying hearing aids now. That's all I'm talking about. And I'm not putting them down, but I just want people to understand.
Okay, so a lot of ENTs do have hearing instrument specialists, which is another branch of the hearing health care industry. And basically what they do is they test and they will tell you yes or no, you have enough hearing loss for a hearing device. But some of them also have doctors of audiology.
Which is not common because you go in, typically when you go in, you have a tympanogram done, you test the hearing. And I know on several occasions I've gone to my ENT and they haven't done that, which is really an important factor, especially as you start getting a little older.
Right. I mean, of course I'm going to say everybody should be coming to see me.
Yes.
Stop being humble, Dr. Paula.
And not only, I have to also mention.
But honestly, there are a lot of really wonderful ENTs, and a lot of them employ some really wonderful hearing healthcare professionals. So I would never, ever take away from what somebody else is doing because, like there's lots of people who do radio shows, but there's a reason people come.
There's a reason people listen to Ask the Experts.
Absolutely.
Because we have the experts.
So there's reasons that people would go to an ENT, and there's reasons people would go to a franchise, although I don't know what those are. No, sorry.
But, we're trying to educate people.
And you know what? Of course, a lot of people will come to a private practice hearing health care professional. And, we have a lot of overlapping services. I provide, in our private practice, when I started audiology, it was really promoted to be able to be very well-rounded. So I learned all the diagnostics for dizziness, for anybody that might have some functional hearing loss going on, for tinnitus, for hearing loss, for hearing protection.
Right, and we're going to talk about tinnitus.
So I was brought up in the field being very well-rounded. A lot of people now are very specific. So there's educational audiology, and there's pediatric audiology, and there's dispensing audiology.
There's a whole realm.
And I didn't know
very
there was
specialized, like doctors, and it's not like doctors can't, they learn in school how to be well-rounded, but then they pick a specialty.
And hearing is your specialty.
So hearing is my specialty.
You know what I love about Dr. Paula's practice? Not only is she located in Pembroke Pines, but if you need her to come out to your house, she does house calls.
I do.
Now, you do not find that in this day and age. When I was growing up, doctors did house calls, but Dr. Paula still does house calls, which is amazing.
You know what? I still do house calls because there are people who cannot get out of their house, but they still need to hear things, because it keeps us in touch with our environment. It makes us feel safe. It makes us feel more confident. And it keeps us involved in the world to be able to hear. And just because you cannot get out doesn't mean that you should not hear.
Well, a lot of people, don't want to admit that they're having hearing loss problems because they feel like they're aging, so they don't want to admit to that.
I mean, we talked about this before.
Yes.
That, my belief, my very deep belief, is that being able to hear is actually an anti-aging.
It makes you more youthful.
It really does. It really does. When we talked about it before, Helen Keller was once asked if she could have her vision or her hearing back, which would she choose? And she said she would much rather have her hearing back because while her vision connected her to things, her hearing really connected her to, or would connect her to other people.
Right.
And
it's one of the things you talked about that really shocked me, that there's people who will, say, watch television, and they can't they're hearing, but they're not hearing. They're not
comprehending.
And they're like, is there something wrong with me? What's going on? Why can I not understand? And I think it's like, I feel so sorry for those people. These are the people who need to come see you now.
So that's a form of hearing loss, the comprehension aspect of it.
Well, most people I take care of don't, aren't off the charts deaf, what we would call profoundly impaired. They have specific hearing loss at specific frequency ranges, which is typically in the area of where they need their hearing most to get consonant sounds, which is what gives speech meaning.
Right.
So it's usually like moderate, there's different ranges, but, a lot of people have high frequency hearing loss, which affects their ability to understand, much like most people who wear contact lenses or glasses aren't blind. I mean, I have glasses, obviously. I'm not wearing them now, and I'm not even wearing contacts. But I'm not blind. I just know that it makes my life easier. I can read longer. I can hold the paper here instead of here.
And it's funny because you said
easier.
in the last show that most people will go annually for an eye exam, but they won't go for a hearing exam, which they should.
Everybody, we're still doing our 1,000.
We're going to help
you. Are you
get
still
there.
doing that?
So
Steve O, he's volunteering. He's going.
So let's talk about tinnitus.
Is it tinnitus or tinnitus?
It can be tinnitus or tinnitus.
Okay.
Not tendinitis.
It's not tendinitis.
That's a joint thing.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, what is it, though?
Okay, so tinnitus is defined as a phantom noise that people hear. And the reason it's phantom is because we hear with our ears, but again, we comprehend with our brain. So typically we'll hear a noise outside here in our ear, and we will interpret a corresponding noise in our brain. So it becomes phantom because there's no longer a noise out here for the ear to actually physically pick up and hear. But our brain still hears it. And there's still this neuronal stimulus that's firing back and forth that our brain hears. And then there's a part of our brain, the limbic system, which is like the emotional part of our brain, that's the fight or flight, that interprets that sound as something that's not good for us. So it goes into this loop system of fighting off the noise because
is that like ringing? Sometimes I have ringing in my ears.
It can be ringing, hissing, clicking, crickets, steam noise.
How about horns?
Rushing.
From cars. Maybe those are real.
I just hear ringing. I hear ringing all the time in my ears, but I have sinus problems.
It
but
can definitely be, it can definitely be because of a medical thing. The number one cause of tinnitus or tinnitus.
What else causes? What other causes are there?
Is noise exposure. Sometimes ototoxic drugs, just drugs that are not good for our auditory system. But again, do not stop taking your medications. Always check with your doctor first. It could be sinuses, it could be wax against your ears, it can be circulatory, and that's just a few of the many listed items.
Are there cures for this at all?
We cannot say that there are cures. We cannot legally say that there are cures. And I know, many doctors will tell people, "Oh, just live with it."
Okay, so
but
can it be treated?
It can be treated.
Okay.
Yes, there's many treatments for tinnitus. The ones that we use, and we are 95% effective at reducing, or I can't say the other word.
That's very good, though.
Tinnitus, and we use a combination of things. The first thing is sound therapy, and the other one is tinnitus retraining therapy, or our own version.
What about these over-the-counter supplements? Do those work?
They are not, I never say never to anything. My own belief is that placebos work.
Okay.
Xanax. That works for anything.
But that actually has an active, it actually is active on your central nervous system, Xanax.
But you don't know because you passed out.
Exactly. It just makes you sleep, so you don't notice.
Right, so you don't even know.
Much. But a lot of the things, the lipoflavonoids, they're not really they're not tested, they're not regulated. I have a lot of people who have tried them. Maybe it worked for 2 people. The rest of the people, it had no effect or it made it worse.
Maybe you shouldn't waste your money and go to Able Audiology. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we have so many more questions in this area. We'll be right back with Dr. Paula.
Dr. Paula Liebeskin is proud to introduce A-Bell Audiology and Hearing Center in Pembroke Pines. Here at the A-Bell Center, we are dedicated to providing you with a truly customized and successful hearing health experience. Success to us means you leave happy, healthy, and hearing the world around you. The A-Bell Center specializes in hearing loss, tinnitus, and tinnitus treatments, hearing aids, oral rehabilitation, and balance disorders. A-Bell Audiology offers professional and research-based services to individuals living with hearing loss, ringing in the ears, or balance disorders. A-Bell's audiologic and tinnitus evaluations and balance tests are performed exclusively by Dr. Paula Liebeskin, a leading expert. Contact A-Bell Audiology and Hearing Center today, as there has never been a better time to enjoy better hearing than now. A-Bell Audiology and Hearing Center is located at 2301 North University Drive, Suite 110, Pembroke Pines, Florida. Call them at 954-435-9779 or visit their website at www.abellaudio.com. That's A-B-E-L audio.com.
And we're back with Dr. Paula. Wow, we've got, towards the end of the show, Dr. Paula is going to give you some tips about Valentine's Day, and as she says it, that you can hear your honey better. That is really
love
cool.
that.
Credit.
Talk to him this way, very loudly.
What?
I told you, Dr. Paula, he listens to those headphones all night.
I know.
So does this cause hearing loss at all?
Tinnitus does not cause hearing loss, and hearing loss does not cause tinnitus.
Okay.
Statistically, there is about 35 million people in America with hearing loss, and, it varies, 50 to 55 million with tinnitus. So you can't have them both together. They can be mutually exclusive. You can have one without the other.
Does it eventually go away without taking anything or doing anything for it? Or unless you do something? Because you said something about the sound therapy, which is what?
The longer, my rule of thumb, the longer you have it, the less likely it is to just go away by itself. I believe in obviously the easiest thing is prevention. So if you know that you're doing something that might cause hearing loss, like
listening to loud music at night?
Listening to loud music. Yeah,
or radio shows at night?
Probably the people that are most likely or most at risk for it are all my patients that are in, noisy jobs like my musicians, my police, my firefighters. So obviously protection when you're around loud noise, if you're a musician, not just wearing we have special musician earplugs, but not just wearing the musician earplugs when you're playing or you're practicing, but a lot of them go to hear their friends play or go to hear other people.
Right. So basically, if you go to a concert, that could affect if you go on a regular basis.
Right. And studies now show if you go to sporting events like football games and baseball games where it's really crowded and people are yelling, or even we live in Florida, so mowing the lawn, or when you're going to your town's Founders Day and you're listening to the fireworks, protection is really key. But once you have it, if you really have it, I have patients that have it and they are functioning with it. Statistically, they say about 2 to 3 million really cannot function with it. So I have a lot of people that come in and
so you do the sound therapy?
Like literally, they can't sleep, they can't nothing.
Really?
Wow.
Like they don't want to go out. I mean, it's just so disturbing to them.
So is it that let me just ask you something. So is it that your ears are very sensitive to sounds if you have
Well,
it?
there's two things. There's hyperacusis, which is a sensitivity to any kind of sound. So something, if I went like this, we would hear that, but it wouldn't be overwhelming.
Our whole listening audience heard that. That's okay.
I can't hear anymore.
But somebody with hyperacusis would be jumping out of their skin like a cat meowing or anything would just set them off, and it would be they're very sensitive to loud sound. And you can have hyperacusis with tinnitus, but again, it can be mutually exclusive. What the sound therapy does and what the tinnitus retraining therapy does is it's designed to help the limbic system relax and
are there different steps? I mean, do you have to come in?
And how often do you have to do that?
You have to come in for a full eval, which normally takes about an hour and a half. And then you have to come in for the fitting of the device and to learn how to do it. And then the tinnitus retraining therapy can last anywhere up to 18 months, although I have my own way of doing it, and I incorporate very holistic modalities such as meditation and neurolinguistics programming, which helps to retrain the brain. I'm also a certified hypnotist.
Wow.
So I can really get results very quickly, like 3 to 6 months.
That's impressive. Very impressive.
And they're permanent results. I mean, I have testimonials from patients if anybody wants testimonials. But we're very, very effective. And a lot of those things, a lot of the tinnitus retraining therapy can be done by phone or Skype, depending on what we do.
We had 2 emails from last month I've got to get in. One is if a person thinks they have a large amount of wax buildup. Now, I told them just to go take a coat hanger and put it through their ear. No.
And you're not even supposed to use Q-tips. People have the misconception that you're supposed to clean out the wax, but actually...
First of all, some wax is normal and healthy. It has a function, which is why God put it in our ears, okay? It does have a function. So, I don't believe in Q-tips in the ears either, because I had a patient one time when I was studying. I was a student, and this woman came in and she had a significant hearing loss, and the reason she was tested prior and it was shown she had a significant hearing loss. The cotton, she was using Q-tips, and the cotton over a course of years had come off the end of the Q-tips
and was stuck in
her ears. And I'm looking and I'm going, what is all that white stuff in her ears? That was cotton. I'm like, did nobody ever look in her ears before?
No, but I have to say, what you said about the wax, that's healthy for the ears. But like my daughter has an overabundance of wax in her ears. If I didn't, they'd call child services if I didn't clean out the ears, because I'm telling you, it comes out of her ear.
Some wax is normal and healthy, and just because it's coming out of her ear does not mean
But
she's
it's
got
got to
it
be
over
clean,
and over.
though.
And
You can't send to the school like that.
Well, you can wipe the side of the ear with.
No, Dr. Paul, you have no idea.
Or
globs.
Or that would be a good reason to take her to an ENT doctor to get the.
Well, she has.
I mean, I could tell you all the things that we don't believe in. We do not believe in Q-tips in the ears.
Wait a minute. I've been using the same Q-tip for 2 years now. I have not changed.
It's just a
Are you
stick.
saying not to do that now?
At least
Just
change
stick.
Q-tips.
I'm trying to save money.
Instead of Kodak.
The other thing that people do that just makes my skin crawl is ear candling.
Is what? Putting
Ear
candles in your
candling.
ear?
No, they take the candle and they put
What?
it up to their ear, and I guess they figure they'll suction the wax.
I have never
out.
heard of that.
I'm just telling you, you can burst your eardrum, you can burn yourself.
Wait a second, but they're putting
There
wax from the candle in their ear? That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
heard about that
I never heard of that.
on Sky 5. So what do you
It's
do?
sci-fi, not sky.
What do you do how do you relieve the wax in the ear if they come into your clinic?
Oh, well, we either flush it or we use curettes. It depends. I mean, if it's really, really a lot, and especially if somebody's on blood thinners like Coumadin, if I can't see behind the wax, I don't know what's there, then I will always send them to a doctor first. If they're on Coumadin or some other blood thinner, I will send them to a doctor first.
The other question
safety.
Wait, Dr. Paula has to give out her phone number because
We're
she
gonna-
has not
yes.
given out her phone. Give out your phone number if anybody wants to call and make an appointment, which they should, and have a hearing evaluation.
You know what? It is Valentine's Day, and I hope that everybody out there loves somebody enough to encourage them to have good hearing. And I hope you will all love yourselves enough to take care of your ears. And with that being said, our phone number is 954-435-9779.
Love that. I thought that was great. Yes.
Sweet, Dr. Paul. That was good. There's a commercial on TV about people watching TV that can't hear, and there's a device you just turn. I mean, it's like this magical device. Tell us about
Well,
this. I know what you're going to say.
Well, it's pretty generic, so it amplifies.
$19.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty generic, and it amplifies everything uniformly. So it will amplify voices, but any background noise, it will also amplify that.
Like a mosquito?
And it's disposable, so the batteries, there's no warranties or anything. So it's disposable. The battery dies, you're tossing it. So think about how
Use
much
some
you're
common
wearing
sense.
it.
Listen, if you
you
can't
always
hear the
get what you
TV
get
or if
paid
you
for.
can't hear anybody, you need to have your ears checked. And the devices, you showed us, you brought them into the studio. They are so small, you can't even tell that somebody has a hearing aid in.
They really are. They're so little.
So get past your ego.
Yeah.
Steve-O.
Give everybody your website, because you got a great website.
www.abelaudio, ABELAUDIO@AOL.com. Oh, no, I'm sorry. www.abelaudio.com. Sorry.
That's her email in case you want to send her an email and you have a question for Dr.
You can do
Paula.
that too.
Yeah.
Now, the purpose of this show is, listen, if you think you have a hearing problem, don't go Google someone and just pick someone off of Google. We have the top, and it doesn't mean her prices are the most expensive. It's just we have the top expert in audiology. She's going to give you her phone number. Write this number down. Maybe not for you, maybe for your husband or for your wife or your mother, somebody, but give them your phone number again.
954-435-9779.
We're saving you so many steps. You don't have to Google someone and hope that they're good. We have Able Audiology here in studio, Dr. Paula. She's
And do you
with us every
offer
month.
free consultations if somebody just wants to come and talk to you about
We
a
do
hearing
offer
aid?
complimentary consultation.
Which is wonderful. So if somebody has any concerns.
For both the hearing and the tinnitus.
Perfect.
What other areas do you offer service for?
Hearing conservation
Okay.
or protection, because I'm big into
Gotcha.
prevention and
God,
protection.
this goes by so
fast.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Again,
Because we love having Dr. Paula
we
here.
do. Again, one more time, your phone number, and we're going to get out of here. We're going to be
Oh,
back.
I didn't get to do my 3 tips.
I know.
Well, real quick, I'm just
Okay.
going to talk really, really fast. So write this down. If you're going to a restaurant, try to get a booth instead of a table because you'll hear better. Always face the person that you're talking to, and keep the light behind you so that there's no glare. And I'll
Great
leave
tips.
it with those tips. And our phone number is 954-435-9779.
Hey, we're
And
gonna
happy
catch you.
Valentine's
Thank
Day,
you.
everybody.
We're going
Same
to catch
to
you on
you.
the other side. We got Taxation Solutions on with us for you people who are thinking about going against the IRS by yourself. Hey, we're going to be right back.
Dr. Paula Liebeskin is proud to introduce A